And what we want to start with, statistics are, I mean, you get so many of them in every sport now. You hear about sabermetrics in baseball and Moneyball and all that stuff. Analytics in the NBA. Now, when you guys were playing, what stat did you pay attention to, C-Webb?
Well, it depends on what the coaches did, turnovers, deflections, touches, rebounds. So we look more at, this is the game we played, and in these situations, these are the choices that we made. How can we make better choices, or how can we do things better, as opposed to saying, we're going to go out here today, and this is what we're going to try to do. So when I'm leading the ball, instead of you, Peja, coming to the lane making a layup, you take 3 steps back to get a 3-point shot.
I know you're a big fan of advanced metrics and that kind of thing.
Man, I think all that stuff is stupid, man. It's, you know, Ernie, I think we...
Can't you learn something from it, however, about how effective a player might be? Or...
Well, the only 2 stats that matter to me when it comes to winning and losing, rebounding and turnovers. Those are stats that I would look at. If you get killed on the boards, you're not going to win. You turn the ball over, you're not going to win.
I would assume, then, that player impact estimate has very little relevance in your life. You know how to calculate that?
Not really.
Well, take a look. Player impact estimate measures a player's overall statistical contribution against the total stats in games they play in, yields results which are comparable to other advanced stats. Okay, so points plus field goals made plus free throws made minus field goals attempted minus free throws attempted plus defensive rebounds.
You can take that off or not.
Plus...
That's a waste of time.
Thank you.
Whoever made that up can't even draw the last play for somebody to get an open shot.
Can you believe that's being calculated?
One of the most idiotic things that we may have ever talked about here on Open Court.
But
no,
that's
here.
No, Reggie, that's why we're showing it, because things have gotten a little out of hand, haven't they?
Analytics are good in showing certain trends, maybe, where guys particularly get most of their shots or where they're scoring from. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned scouting, going out actually scouting, writing down, Charles Barkley likes it on the left blocks, he's going to get it X amount of times. There's no computer, there's no MIT geek that can tell me all that stuff. At looking at Shaq, how many touches, I don't need to see all that. I want a guy that I can trust on the ground at a game, looking at C-Webb when he comes up to the pinch post in that Sacramento offense, how many times he's going to get it, how many times he's going to go left. I don't need a formula to know that. I need a guy that's been in the building, that's seen C-Webb, to bring back to us for a scouting report during a shoot-around.
I always felt that analytics have a place in terms of judging, helping you try to judge a contract, helping you, you know, not get a contract. But in terms
of... Kenny, some guys are better numbers guys in terms of
that's
those
all
contracts.
It's fake. That's what I'm saying.
Some guys can have lower numbers based by that, whatever it's called, and not get the same type of contract versus a guy that...
But think about it. If you played, let's forgive me, if you played in Phoenix system under D'Antoni when they had Steve Nash, your numbers, because of the number of possessions, are going to be inflated.
I'm not a big fan of that analytics thing. I know it's new to the game, but my whole thing is, I mean, say, for instance, you say Reggie Miller's, in the last couple of years, he shot 39% as opposed to 44 from the 3. Now, you telling me we prepare for this game, if he gets a last-second shot, are you as a coach going to tell me just because of the analytics says, well, he's shooting worse than he used to shoot?
Are
you going to give him that
he's
shot?
At that left-hand corner.
I'm still not going to give him that shot. Right. You're dead. You know what I'm saying? I'm still not going to give him that shot. I got to play him as a player.
I think there are two different things that are going on here. Us as players who have gone to basketball school, been educated in basketball school since you were 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, playing for different coaches, different programs. You know, you got a 20, 25-year education that you bring to the table. So when you talk about the eye test, you have really been educated in the game of basketball. Now we have a group of individuals who have come into our game who haven't gone to the basketball schools that we've gone to. And when I mean the basketball schools, I'm talking about the coaching, the training, the playing, the hours of films that you've had to watch to have this education and institutional knowledge that you can really look at a basketball player and critique it, analyze it, without necessarily having to go to a stat sheet and see and tell you what that means. Others outside of basketball, because they want to come into basketball, have said, okay, the on-the-job training that all of us have had over the last 30 years in this business, they're saying that we can take this piece of paper and say, Shaq's going to catch the ball on the left block 17 times, and because he catches it 17 times, he's going to only make 8 shots, so forth and so on. So therefore, they're saying we take all the emotion out of the game, when really they're not taking the emotion out of the decision, they're taking the intelligence out of the decision, and consequently, it's eliminating the on-the-job training that we've all experienced. We all knew that the stat sheet for us, we can all manipulate the stat sheet at any point in time we want. So when I came into the game, the big man dominated. And the criteria was if you got X amount of rebounds, it was weighted. If you shot a certain field goal percentage, it was weighted. So you shot 60% from the field, you shot 60% from the field, but all the offenses were geared around big men. So you shot closer to the basket. I shot 45% from the field because most of my shots were 18 to 20 feet away. So consequently, the stat sheet didn't tell the true story about my field goal percentage and your field goal percentage. So little guys, we had to adjust our game and try to get rid of this stat sheet, because we could never be MVP of the league or be the best player on our team, because the criteria and the measurements that we were being judged by, they didn't fit the little guys. So the little guys were out of the league, and the 6'9" point guards start coming in because they can get closer.
The thing is, too, Isaiah, you look around these days, whether it's basketball or baseball, front office executives who have bought into this and have people who are just working on this and are funneling this information to head coaches or managers. And so there is some heat on these guys to say, okay, I will take into consideration what you are giving me and try to use this kind of stuff, even though that may not be the way the coach is exactly wired.
We really want to be honest. It's about people validating unwarranted knowledge.
But you know what a lot of this is, too?
Some of it.
It has to do with a lot of our sports leagues, too. And you look at this as football, because this is huge. It's all about fantasy football. Fantasy basketball now, as well as baseball. It's for the guy, Joe Blow.
And the video games.
And the video games, sitting at home, that really doesn't have that basketball knowledge or schooling, as Isaiah is talking about, and saying, how can I be a part of the conversation?
When a guy's on a bad team, he can average X amount of points.
So easy.
Because he's just the guy who sucks the least, and they run every play for him. I have played with guys who got traded to my team, and they're telling me, well, this guy's going to be a good player. And I'm like, well, I played against him. Maybe I'm missing something. but people just go by stats. If a team said to me, Charles averaged 25 points, he's going to get $10 to $15 million a year. You can be damn sure Chuck gonna get 25 a night. I'm not worried about field goal. I'm not worried about field goal percentage.
Well, how do you view all these numbers, Dr. O'Neil?
I think analytics could work for a role player. For example, if I read an analytical report on Isaiah, and Isaiah had a so-so game, I'm 100% sure the next game Isaiah's going to change that whole analytical process. I mean, but like, you know, like a role player like a Patty Mills, you know, he plays the same way every game. So, you know, I think when it comes to, like, you know, really, really great players, the analytical report changes, because if I go 6 for 10 one night and we lose, I'm trying to go 8 for 10 the next night. If I don't have a good game on the left block on the Wednesday, when we play on the Thursday, I'm going to go to the other block. So, you know, I think it, you know, changes for each player. But I agree with what C-Web says. Analytical, schmanalytical, it means nothing. It's all about heart and determination.
The one danger I think that our game is approaching right now is the video game is driving the strategy of the NBA. Because the video game is the dunk shot, the free throw, and the three-point line. And all game and all offenses right now, they mirror the video games. The mid-range game does not matter anymore.
Much more to come here on The game is changing on open court. Talking about the evolution of the stretch four when we come back.